Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome to episode 50 of Shrigleytube TV. I can't believe it's nearly a year, so obviously episode 52 we'll try and make it a bit of a special episode in a couple of weeks' time. But thanks for everyone that's returned to watch and stuck with me throughout the whole year of my appalling audio control and not really knowing what I'm talking about half the time and jumbling on with myself. But obviously the channel is growing, so I'm appreciating that people are watching and coming back to see more. So this week we've got lots going on, all sorts. Adrian's engine's gone out the door. He's just been with me today. We've been to Chapati Corner. He enjoyed his dinner, so we had a bit of a laugh there, recorded it. And also we've had another engine I've been working on, done some talking on that, a bit of machine work, so we talked about that. Lots of bit different things. The car's gone off for a new rear quarter. To twist the bloke's arm. He wanted to put a full quarter on it because he said it's toast, that it's no chance. It just needs. And I said, look, we've got 3 days. I've got a bit of a repair panel off a rusty imp that's been chopped off that a very, very kind member of the imp club, Scott, posted down from Scotland to me. So the lad who does the body filler, he said, look, as a special one-off, I'll do this for you. But in winter, we'll buy 4 wings and put 4 wings on it and make it a nice car. So I said, right, okay, crack on. Let's just get it some paint on it so we can go and race it, because it doesn't need to be like a church. We just need it to roll so it's presentable. So hopefully I'm going to get the car back middle of next week and then we can get building it. I've got all my trailing arms. You'll see all that anyway. I'll stop waffling. Hope you enjoyed tonight's episode and I look forward to seeing you all next Sunday at 7 PM. Bye for now. Okay, after we put the pistons in Ed's rally car, he went to the rally and did really well. He's managed to get a wheel in the air in the wet there. It was quite impressive. And he came second in his class with his co-driver there. So congratulations, Ed. Great result. Well done. Right, we've got a bit of work out the door, so I thought we'd probably better turn our attentions to the Hillman, due to the fact I have actually entered to go to Brands on the 29th of June, so I thought better look at him. I've had a look underneath. Unfortunately, it's done the cross member, the trailing arm, and the drive shaft's bent. Bless him, Russell. This is Russell, in Jersey. He wanted to help repair it, so he put this back on for me. Big piece of clag there. Anyway, I spoke to my mate, Bodies, and he's very kindly said he's going to repair this for me in the next few days. Doesn't appear to have gone over and bent this side, which was very lucky. So I'm going to crack on now, pull the engine and box out, and then if you see, the chassis leg does actually appear to be half decent position. So yeah, I think it's we've got away really lightly considering how high speed or whatever. I was just very lucky the car didn't get bent more, but I'm pretty confident we can fix this. In the meantime, I'm going to try and do some more paint work and also get the trailing arms blasted and painted. Dropped them off for blasting this morning. I'm going to put a pair on it, I think, at the same time, strengthen them all up. So we'll go through that together and cross member and then engine and box back in. Hopefully we'll have the 1040. I don't think I'm going to get a chance to build the offset liner engine. I think that's a bridge too far. Right, if I see anything interesting, I'll report back. Okay, this is the trailing arms that I've selected for the Hillman. Obviously, you've seen the state of the ones that are on the car after Jersey where it got bent. So what I'm going to do is, or what I've done so far is I've stripped them and I've blasted them, or had them blasted. So they look to be in fairly good condition. Where they corrode and the water sits in the cup here where the spring, it's all quite good. Doesn't appear to have had any stress anywhere. It all looks nice and flat and straight. So I'm going to weld these up and trim them a bit and put a few holes in and make them a bit lighter. We're going to put a bit of a strap over the top here to support the bearing tube. And there's a bridge that goes in down here. This is where the drive shaft runs through and the wheel goes round here, you see. So this tube often can split and pull away from the main trailing arm when the cars are curb hopping and being given a hard time on the track, basically. So I'm going to make all that nice and strong. This is a replacement cross member. It is a bit pitted. It's not brilliant, but it is straight. And we have a little trick where the trailing arms mount, if you can imagine, that mounts in there like that. We drill here, and then there's a little void between here and the bulkhead on the car. And we basically put a support piece in there and drill through. And that adds a lot of rigidity to this whole area. so that nothing flexes basically. You can definitely tell when the car's right. And we put some solid bushers inside here as well, so that the trailing arm is, you know, it has a nice articulation, or whatever you want. You know, it moves really, it articulates nice and in a radius rather than wobbling everywhere when you, or rubber mounted like a road car would be. So we're going to stiffen it all up. Hopefully it'll make the car go better, because the wishbone, the trailing arms that are on it, to be honest, have had a bit of a hard time. So come Monday, we're going to get stuck into all this, get it welded, get it painted. I'm not going to start welding them now because it's too late in the afternoon. I don't like welding unless I'm going to be in the workshop for at least an hour and a half afterwards, just in case you get a little freak spark that goes and buries itself in some oily rag somewhere where you can't see or smell it. So to avoid the risk of fire, we won't be doing anything like that till Monday. So that's the plan. I have got a plan, you see, believe it or not. So we're going to start doing that Monday. Hopefully we get the car back Monday or Tuesday, so we can start swapping all the bits over from the trailing arms, have the engine dynoed, the gearbox rebuilt into the new casing, and we'll be good to go. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Scott from Scotland, who very kindly posted down this repair panel for my imp. He's a subscriber and he saw the damage in Jersey and wanted to help. So massive thanks, Scott. That's brilliant. A lot of love out there in the Hillman Club. To the body shop there for sorting out my imp. They've done an absolutely first-class job in a very short time as well, so thank you very much. Okay, YouTubers, I'm on the dyno now with the engine we ran on Friday. We're running it in when it ran to 6.5. Today I've run it a bit higher because we've been gently letting everyone make friends inside over the last couple of days, doing some heat cycles, etc., and mess about with the fuel in advance a bit. And I think we've got like a pretty sweet spot. It's actually very good. I'm considering telling him it's not ready and then using it myself for brands, and he can have it after brands, because there's no way I'll be able to keep with this. It'll eat mine for breakfast. But just to load it on here and torque at like 5,500, it comes on at 4.5. At 5.5 there, I've got nearly 80 foot-pound. Still holding it at 6. Still got 15. Still got 75 foot-pound at 8.5. What is that horsepower-wise? I think that's quite good. Nah, it's not got 124 horsepower. Right, it must be a good air day. The dyno's obviously overreading, but I'd say this is a proper 110 horsepower engine. This he'll go well with this. Now, next what I'm doing now is I'm going to ring him and say, get yourself organised and come over, and he's going to bring his full air system for the airbox, and we'll run run it again together with the airbox, and then he can have it ready for bronze. Okay YouTubers, we're on the dyno now with Adrian's joined me. He's come to pick the engine up, so we're giving it the final run. We've put his fresh air system, which he's devised over many years of racing his car, which has got like a nice filter and airbox, and it draws air in from the back panel, and he's very clever. He exhausts the exhaust gases well away from the air intake on the opposite side, so hopefully he gets nice cold air. He's certainly got something that makes it go well. Anyway, so welcome to Shrigleytube, Adrian. Thanks for agreeing to talk to us. You're going to be the cameraman in a minute, if that's okay. We're just going to give it a little bit of a final blow up. It's turned out quite good, this engine. We're not going to get too excited in case it's not as good as I think, but I think you should be all right with this.
Proof is in the eating, as the sticker says, isn't it?
Oh, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Yes. Absolutely, yeah. Right, I'll pass you the camera if that's all right. You go there. Sorry. And we'll wind him up. If you bring the microphone round here, it's a bit iffy, do. It's not the best at the best of times, the microphone. But we're working on it. It's work in progress. Right, I'm going to load it up. We'll try and start it at about 4 or 5. It's really keen to go with that compression ratio. It really helps it. So at 5,000 there, we've got about a good 75 foot-pound. Just back him off, give him a little rest. And it does hang on quite well, this. So 6, 7, it's still 80 odd. 7.5, 8, 8.5. It was still holding a good 73 foot-pound. That will make silly horsepower figures on my dyno, but they aren't real because we're not dealing with a what they call a corrected figure. It's just what we've got on the day. Oh no, you put me on the camera. Oh yeah. God, I'm a professional micro. So it isn't a bad air day. It's about 1,010 millibars. So we'll probably knock a bit of horsepower fat, but it's got a good torque spread. So you with your 4-speed box, I think you'd be all right. Belting. Right, wonderful. Thanks for taking part. Where are we going next?
Of course, Chupati Corner, isn't it?
Excellent. Right, I look forward to that. Cheers, Adrian. I'm going to give that a 10 out of 10. What? Adrian, you got clean plates. What do you reckon?
Lush.
What, 8, 9, 9.5, 10 out of 10?
Oh, I'd definitely go 9.5, I'd say.
Excellent. How about you, Biggin?
9. Got to be a 9.
You've left your rice. What's up? You on a diet?
No, that's for poor people. I don't eat rice.
Good morning, YouTubers. Right, this week's work, that's going to, well, it's not actually going to go out the door, but a job I'm working towards is a job for Dom's father. You might remember him from a few videos back when he came down with his husky and we interviewed him. So I'm doing an engine for him, and I just wanted to talk about how good the Imp Sport head is as standard, you know. So we're going to modify this head to make it better, but it was already good to start with, if you get my drift. Now the Imp Sport head has different casting numbers, but this is the most popular one. It's a 180, last 3 digits, 180. They also do a 162 and a 107, which is the earlier ones, but we'll just stick to the 180 for now. So the Imp Sport casting, why is it better than everything else? Well, it's to do with the way that the water flows around the head. The water doesn't actually flow above the inlet port, so we can go up and raise the roof of the inlet port without any fear of it breaking through. So that's why we always choose this casting over, say, like a 533 oil drain head, which is the L4 engine. So what I've done so far to this head is I have welded it between the, this is a head he supplied, by the way, real nice Imp Sport casting. So I've welded it there, even though it wasn't cracked. I've just put extra material in because it's so thin. When you torque it down with the wheel strings, it effectively tries to bow the head like this, so they get a big smiley crack here, and if you're really unlucky, they crack on this side, which makes them pretty much scrap. But on this side it's dealable with, it just leaks water and is a bit of a nuisance, so you can just, like, we have just grey glued them up in the past, but now what we're trying to do is weld them regardless, so that there's a very small chance of it ever having a problem then. In fact, we've never had a problem with one once it's been welded, especially if it wasn't cracked before we welded it, like this one. So I'm getting carried away here, aren't I? So what I've done is I put some, you can see the bronze guides, I put the bronze guides in, and they've been turned to take an oil seal. And the reason we do that is with the modern pistons in the bottom, because obviously going to be a 1012cc is bottom end, with the modern ring pack and the close clearance because it's a road engine, and with the valve guide oil seals, we're able to make an engine that literally is like a modern engine. You can run it on 1040s oil, and fully synthetic at that, and it doesn't use oil really. They don't use anything between services. We'll put in a rear oil seal conversion on the crankshaft, so hopefully it won't leak any oil, and it'll be really nice for him. We'll be dead happy with it. Right, so far work I've done, I've welded that, I put a set of guides in it with the seals, I've faced it, and I've wheel string grooved it to 1040cc. So it's only a 1012, but we've grooved it to 1040 just in case he ever wears it out and wants to go bigger, which is highly unlikely with modern oils, etc. Right, so as you can see, I've cut 3 of the inlet seats. Now what I wanted to say was the inlet port on the standard Imp Sport, you know, for a standard head, it's really good. It does flow really well. Now we're going to put this on a twin 40s manifold. So what I propose to do is I'm going to match it with the gasket, and I'm going to open up the inlet port so that there's no step when the air goes through obviously from the twin 40s manifold being bigger. This is obviously designed to have a Stromberg manifold on it. So I'm going to open this entry up here, and then we'll taper back down to the original size quite quickly. And the reason for that is you have, well, I'm talking about something now that I've been educated by my friend Will Parry, but you have a port to valve head ratio. So this originally was like a 1.23 or something, I don't know, Imp Sports 1.25 is it maybe, and this is a 1.3 inlet valve, so the seat is bigger than the original valve, so we're able to recut the seat on the original seat without replacing it. If I zoom in, you should be able to just about see the alley on the very outside on the top angle. So there's the angle that it sits on, the valve seat. The top angle is in the alley, so we really are utilising the most amount of material in the valve seat. And we do the same on the exhaust. They're like 1.10 or something, or we make them 1.125 on the exhaust. So put a bigger exhaust valve in as well. So I've not cut that yet. So you'll see when I put the valve in, it sits really high because it's not got a seat yet. We've got to cut it with this tool here. Now we're going to, as you can see, I've done 3 of them, and we're going to cut the last one together now. I'm going to put the camera on the stand and zoom in so you can see. And what I love about this tool is it takes out loads of the throat diameter, which saves me doing it with the hurdy-gurdy, and then it also de-shrouds it a bit. So I'm going to continue to de-shroud the valve by opening this up with the hurdy-gurdy afterwards. But all I'm going to basically do to this sport head to make it do sort of like 75, 80, well, good 80, 85 horsepower, is I'm going to cut the seats for the big valve, inlet exhaust, just tidy up the short turn, not taking much material off it at all. It's very important you don't disturb that. Loads of people remove that material and then it knackers the way the air goes around the corner. So we'll keep the turn as nice as possible, as full a radius as possible. I'm going to open the throat a tiny bit, but not much, and I'm going to leave the most of the port, the original Imp Sport port. And the reason I'm going to do that is because this is going in a van, an Imp van, with a standard 4-speed gearbox, and no doubt he'll have his camping gear in the back and his wife, etc. She won't be in the back, by the way, but yeah, in the passenger seat. So what I'm trying to say is the car will utilise, it'll be better engine with some mid-range torque, and one good way of giving an engine mid-range torque is to keep the port size down, because it keeps the airspeed up. If we keep the airspeed up, we get good flow and we get good mixture and good burn, etc. So I'm not going to go crazy on the head. It's just going to be slightly bigger seats, slightly bigger valve, sorry, on the original seats, bit of a tickle, port match. We're going to re-scallop this. I've not took any material out here, as you might notice, because I want to save what compression ratio I've got to relieve it and make a nice chamber, and then it'll have a nice engine then. So I'll put the camera on the stand now, stop waffling, and we'll record doing the valve seat cutting. Okay, we're about to start cutting the seat. So what I do is, this is the pilot, and this basically allows the tool to rotate around the centre provided from the guide. So that's where the valve will run. So we know that's concentric to the seat. So the tool just runs round. This spring, we put this spring on, that keeps the load pushing up, because when I'm coming down with the tool, I've got a mechanical stop, which allows me to get all of the valve seats the same height. So that by the spring being there, it's always pushing the tool back up against the stop. So we'll just locate that in there. Now I'm going to be quiet while we concentrate a little bit. I'm going to bring this down with it rotating. First of all, you'll see it catching the aluminium. Don't sweat about that. I'm just going to let it pull the aluminium out, and then it'll move onto the valve seat, and you'll hear the tone change. And at the end, we'll let it carry on cutting. It's called a spring cut. We basically leave it just going round for about 30 seconds, so that any high spots or any spring that's left in the cut where it's not cut, it just evens it all out, and then it takes minimum lapping to get a really good valve seat then. You know, good contact area for the valve seat to seat on, so we get really good cylinder sealing. Right, I'll turn this on. You can hear the tones change now. We're just starting to cut on the very inside of the seat. So this is the first angle, and you can just start to see the second angle has started to appear now. That's the one where the valve seat actually lands on, and then the third angle is the top angle. And we just see the aluminium now on the very outside diameter, where that's the actual outside of the valve seat. Right, I'm on the stop now, but leaving the pressure there. Can you hear it? It's literally just chasing round now and not taking a cut. So I'm happy now that should be uniform all the way around. So we'll lift that up. Turn the machine off, slide the tool off. Now you might have noticed the head was shimmying round a bit. That's because it's not 100% true. The tool that I'm pushing it down with, the actual chuck, is made up from, well, we won't go into that now, but anyway, the point is it doesn't actually matter, because the head is self-centering, because everything is coming off the guide. So I'll just take this out of this mode into this one. If we get a valve now, we should hear a nice noise as it lands. Get all the swarf out of the guide. So that sounds quite good to me. What I'll do is I will check it with a lapping paste, and we'll lap all the valves in. I'll get on with the exhaust, and then we can relieve the chamber, blast the head, and then we'll do a video all about the engine in a minute. Okay, YouTubers, it's Friday, and beginning of next week the car's going to be back from painting, so it's going to be tools down, I'm afraid. So if Dom's dad's watching this, I'm really sorry, Dom's dad, your engine isn't quite ready, but first week of July we'll have it rattled together. And if I do get ahead of myself next week with the imp, then I will drop onto your engine. But brands actually is very important to me, and I do desperately want to get some sort of result there. So we're going to put some effort into the car. Now, just to go over this is the head we just cut the seats on. So all the seats are cut now. Everything feels nice and happy, apart from that one stayed out. It's all a bit dry, but I've just roughly assembled it to get an idea of where I'm at we got to do some CC and work out the compression ratio, etc. I've done something a bit new. What I've been trying to do is I've been trying to equalise the squish areas on both sides of the pot, so when the piston gets to top dead, it pushes the gases into the middle to encourage them to burn and remove any dead areas. So that's what that's all about. That's just something new I've been trying. Always trying different things to try and better the job, should we say. This is a block I was talking before. It's obviously wet lined 1010cc, and the relevance of this is one of my close engines. It's a 2 thou clearance engine, so the piston to skirt clearance is 2 thou instead of 4.5 thou, which is where my racers are at, because it's going in a road car and I want it to be nice and quiet and very refined for Mr. Dom's dad. So there's his pistons. Obviously they were a little bit proud, so I've had to make little intruders for him. We've got his new ACL bearings, standard rods, which are great, no problem with them in a roadie or in a racer to a certain extent. We had to get a crankshaft ground, so he's got a ground crank in this, which I'm not a big fan of, but it is a good guy who's done the grinding. He's done a nice radius on it, so we've got an undersized crank, but it'll guarantee that, you know, it's going to have the great oil pressure, etc. Now moving over here, that's going to go in a box in a minute and under the bench, because I've got to fix my gearbox, which is down here, which has got a broken bit on it. So we've got to fix the gearbox, and also I've got to get this in the dyno. So this is my 1040 that melted the piston at Mallory. I put pistons in it, and I need to dyno it and bed it in and make sure it's okay. This is the new crankshaft damper that's arrived. This is a harmonic dampener, and this is for the new engine, which is the offset liner engine. You can see there the liner's offset. So I was hoping to get to that and have that ready to take to Brands as a spare to maybe run on the Sunday, but it's just a bridge too far. I can't get to it, and I'm not rushing it because rushing takes longer. So we've got to make a pulley adapter to make the pulley fit with the harmonic damper, hoping that's going to help the crankshaft run to 9.5 no problem. He says. We'll see what happens. Maybe the first time this will run will be at Croft with James, but we'll see. We can't pressure ourselves up. We've got too much other stuff to do before we start playing with that. So we've got a good engine now that's proven. I know it's thereabouts, so it'll push me around at a decent pace. So I've got that. I'm going to put that on the dyno next, put this away, start doing my gearbox, and then hopefully we'll get the car back Monday or Tuesday next week, and we can get into doing the trailing arms, etc. Okay, YouTubers, I thought we'd do a little bit of a different video about a Mercedes diesel engine. This car belongs to the wife, and it's got an oil leak. So obviously, wanting to control everything in the world, I thought I'd try and fix it myself rather than pay a specialist. And believe me, if you've got one of these, it's called an OM651 engine, diesel engine, and it's got an oil leak, just take it to an expert, because trying to do it as a DIY man with a few tools is a nightmare. I've been on it for like 10 hours so far, and I've not even got the part off that I need. The part that I need to get off is inside here. It's this, it's an oil cooler. This green stuff is because the coolant has leaked everywhere, because basically the housings have started dissolving. And see, the ends just fell off that one there. So all the plastic's gone soft on it, and leaks coolant. It's also got this horrendous oil leak. This is the oil filter housing. The O-rings have gone hard, so you can see it's been leaking there. But I've just found the oil cooler, which is what I've been told to change, and that's right underneath the inlet manifold. So God knows how I'm going to get all that off there. It's an absolute nightmare. This is why old cars are worth so much money, because no one's ever going to do anything with this thing other than throw it in the bin when it's worn out, because repairing it is just a nightmare. Anyway, that said, I did speak to my friend at Mercedes first, and I was quite interested to hear what he said. I said, what's this OM651 engine like? And he said, in a Sprinter, it does 500,000 miles. No problem on a service plan. He says, put them in a road car and the bottom ends knock out at 90k sometimes. He said, I said, why do you think that is? He said, all we can put it down to is the Sprinter has 11 litre sump, and the car has a 4.5 litre sump. So it's something to do with the long service intervals, like 20,000 miles or whatever they are. So he said keep on top of the oil, and it's a cracking engine. He said it'll carry on going. It'll leak oil everywhere, but it'll carry on going. So hopefully once we've sorted this oil leak out, it'll be a good car for her. Anyway, just thought I'd give you a little bit of an insight there into the world of plastic engines. I couldn't deal with this. My hat goes off to anyone who's a modern day mechanic. I mean, I was a mechanic at one stage, but we used to put like cam belts on CVHs and clutches in 4-speed Fiestas and things like that, and it was a doddle compared to this. This is real hero tackle doing this work. Right, chaps, while I'm on a rant and a moan about things, this is my 16 plate Crafter van. If you've got one, change these bolts, because these are failure imminent. What a nightmare. I've come to start it this morning, didn't sound right cranking it. I thought something's gone wrong there, as a belt fell off it. Nope, it snapped an injector bolt. Luckily I was able to drill it and knock a Torx bit in it and get it out, because can you imagine drilling that if that was seized in the hole? It'd be an absolute nightmare, like head off tackle. And I just don't understand. If someone works in the modern car industry, can you explain to me why you decide to hold, you know, 2 injectors in on a 175 horsepower engine with 1 M6 stretch bolt? You know, what is your thought path? Can you not afford to put 2 M6 or maybe even a couple of M8 bolts? Wouldn't that be a good idea? We'd never have a problem then, would we? It just blows my mind. Is it designed to fail? I don't know. What is it meant to catch you out when you really need it to work? Anyway, we're not going to get too upset about it, because it's just another thing that goes wrong and you've got to deal with it. But yeah, more plastic, more. I'm just not in love at all, I'm afraid. Hence, thank God I can get to work on Hillman engines and other nice old engines, because no one will ever love this. Not a chance. Right, well, I'll stop moaning now. I've got new bolts in, got some new bolts here, and hopefully it'll be okay. Okay, YouTubers, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's episode, and you were as impressed as I was with that Adrian Oliver engine. It was lovely. It was really good. I'm really excited to see how he goes with that. He should be quite menacing with that, especially if it rains. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. I'll say good night, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next Sunday at 7. Hope you have a great week. Bye for now.